She sat across from me at our usual corner cafe, the one with the flickering candlelight and mismatched mugs, twirling a strand of her hair like she always did when she was uneasy. I knew her tells, every one of them. The moment she walked in, something fell off. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes, and she avoided holding my gaze for more than a second at a time. We'd been together for almost 3 years. Sure, things hadn't been perfect lately. Love can't always feel like fireworks, but I never expected what came next. No build-up, no warning. She looked up, locked eyes with me for the first time all morning, and said it with an unsettling calm. I went on a date last night with someone else. Just like that. For a split second, the world slowed down, like time itself was trying to catch its breath. I blinked, not out of shock, but to make sure I'd actually heard her correctly. But she wasn't finished. She started talking about him, told me his name, mentioned they worked together, said they laughed through dinner, shared a bottle of wine. I sat there, listening to the story of my own betrayal, narrated to me like it was some casual anecdote. This wasn't confession. This wasn't guilt spilling out. This was a test, a performance. Maybe she wanted to see how far she could push before I cracked. Maybe she expected me to beg, to plead, to ask what I had done wrong. Maybe she thought I'd shatter right there, in front of her, in that tiny cafe where we'd once talked about building a future. But I didn't break. I took a slow sip of my coffee, gave a quiet nod, and said, "Thanks for telling me. I hope he treats you better than I did." That wasn't the reaction she prepared for. Her expression faltered, lips parting slightly, eyes widening in disbelief. She froze like someone watching their carefully rehearsed script fall apart. "Wait, that's it," she asked, stunned. "You're not going to yell? Ask why." I leaned back in my chair and met her eyes, steady and calm. "No," I said. "I don't fight to stay where I'm not wanted. If someone else made you feel like you needed to try, then this was already over. I just hadn't gotten the memo yet." That landed harder than anything else I could have said. I saw the shift immediately. The confidence drained from her face, replaced with something unfamiliar, doubt, regret. The cracks started to show. She began to fumble with her words, said she didn't mean for it to go this far, that she was confused, still trying to figure things out. But it all sounded hollow, too late, too rehearsed. She realized in that moment that what she had done wasn't brave. It was cruel, and my calm response? It denied her the drama she'd braced herself for. The storm she thought would come never arrived. There was no scene, no begging, just a mirror held up to her choices. I stood up, finished the last sip of my drink, and said, "I wish you well. You made your choice. I'm simply honoring it." I didn't wait for her to speak. I didn't want to hear another excuse wrapped in confusion. I walked away, slow, steady, with my pride intact. And for once, she was the one left behind, watching someone leave without a second glance. That evening, I went to her apartment and gathered what little of mine remained. A few shirts, a book, my old camera. I didn't take the photos, the notes, or the gifts. I left those behind. Let her sit with them. Let her remember me in the silence I left hanging in the air. Days passed, then weeks. At first, she texted. Then came the long emails, full of apologies and rationalizations. She said it didn't mean anything. Said she missed us. Said she made a mistake. I never responded, not out of spite, but because peace had finally returned to my life. I focused inward, picked up my old hobbies, spent time with friends I'd lost touch with, people she never really liked anyway. I slept better, breathed deeper. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like I was walking on eggshells in my own relationship. Her absence didn't leave a void. It made space. Space for stillness, for clarity, for peace. Mutual friends eventually mentioned she wasn't doing well, that the guy she went on the date with ghosted her after a few weeks. She thought she was trading up. She thought there was more waiting on the other side. Instead, she lost everything she already had. Some lessons come gently. Others arrive like a storm. Looking back, I'm grateful I didn't lose my temper. I'm grateful I didn't beg. Because sometimes the most powerful response is quiet resolve. My silence said more than 1,000 angry words ever could. My self-respect stood taller than any fragile emotion she tried to provoke. She thought her confession would break me, but it did the opposite. It set me free. And in losing me, she finally understood the weight of what she threw away.